goddess jacket from my book.
Does the cover of your book have that kind of an outfit on it?
No, but it
Kind
fits
of.
the colors. It fits the colors.
Yeah, fits my mat.
Look at that. Yay.
Yeah. So how are things going today so far with the moon in Virgo, right? Am I right?
Yeah, I've gotten a lot of things cleaned up. Hello, everybody out there in YouTube land. I recognize the name.
Thanks for being here, everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, moon in Virgo, that's very grounded, very, like get things done, methodical, attention to details. We have some political details to go over. How about last night? How about the E. Jean Carroll?
Oh, the interview on Rachel Maddow?
Best interview I've ever seen. The emotional impact and the empowerment that I felt. I mean, it was just like there were so many layers of things going on there in terms of how this affects the collective and the feminine and women empowered and fighting back. Is it what's the planet or the mythological, is it, I always get it wrong, is it Eris?
Eris, goddess of discord. She's the sister of Mars.
And what's it, is there one that's Eros also?
Yeah, that's the cherub that's into, sexual things.
Well, not, and erotica comes from Eros, that
Correct.
that mythological figure. So you can see, like, probably a lot of people get that confused because I do. But let's just clear it up. Eris, the definition.
Yep.
Is the
prisoner goddess, and she's been in the sign of Aries for the
83.3 million. Before we really dive into it, I just want to let people know we had tech issues before, and I was not really able to see the chat. And I just want to, I'll pay closer attention now. The last time I had no problem at all. Nothing got quirky from what I was seeing and hearing. But I want to make sure that it's all good because I do see a little bit of kind of jerky, freezy stuff going on. Solar flares. Before we blame it on solar flares.
I mean, I had my modem and my router rebooted, and I have a different phone, and I'm pointing directly at the router, so I'm done.
We're good for now. I just wanted to. Yeah, James is saying lost audio a bit, but I'm seeing audio in and out. So here's my idea.
Should I go out and come in?
Want to do that? Yeah, just to see if it reboots itself, and I'll entertain the people. I'll tell them about Saturday's show. See you in a bit. So while Kathy is leaving and coming back, and hopefully the connection will be a bit better, I'll just talk about our show on Saturday. I'm doing a show with Jonathan Glass, and we're going to be talking about. Are you having trouble getting out?
Yeah. Okay. Try this. There we go. There we go. Hold on.
We needed to take body. So that's going to be this coming Saturday. That's February 3rd, the day after Groundhog Day. You know I'm doing a show with Catherine's husband, right? Jonathan?
Yeah.
Do you know Jonathan?
Right.
So that's happening on Saturday. So I just took that opportunity to do a little commercial. Okay, let's go again. So Eris is the goddess who takes a stand, right?
Well, she's a warrior goddess. She's known as the goddess of discord. But And again, I believe she is Mars's sister, and Mars is the god of war. So this is the feminine just going after things, and she's in the sign of Aries right now, which is go get them. You don't scare me. I'm gonna go kick your. She's in Wonder Woman mode. She's in
Yeah,
I'll go
that's
kick your
yeah.
teeth in mode, and yeah,
Now, is Eris associated with a planet?
Eris is an asteroid. That's the
Oh,
name of
okay.
the asteroid.
Oh, I see.
Eris.
When did Eris go into Aries? Because I had something going on around that time. A friend who practices astrology, pointed out to me that what I was doing was right in alignment with that, and I was protesting the cutting down of a bunch of trees at a state park here that they just went in and like just clear cut them without telling anyone. And so that
I'm
was
afraid I don't know. I don't know when. It's only been in the public eye in recent years. I mean, it's been around, la 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 la, but astrologers have only been talking about it in the last few years, and I don't know when it entered Aries.
so
I don't know
that
how long
was
its
in 20
orbit is.
that was in 22, in April of 22, that was going on. A friend
Oh well,
pointed out that.
it was in Aries at that point.
Yeah, so
That I
that's
know.
what was going on there. And while we're on the subject of, I didn't know Eris was an asteroid. While we're on the subject of outer things, what about comets? Do you know? Do
I don't
do
pay attention to
astrologers
them astrologically.
do any astrologers?
I'm not aware of anyone who does, but you know what? Everything has there's somebody interested in it. So it would not surprise me if there are comet astrologers. I don't know them. I have never run into them.
It's so odd to me because there was a green comet that happened last February that hadn't been as close as it was to the Earth since the time of the dinosaurs 70,000 years ago. And me and my best friend that I just mentioned, we were just like, why is nobody talking about this? Because it feels huge. So we were looking to astrologers to talk about it, but nobody was talking about it. And I just thought it was indicative. My psychic impression was it's indicative of that we're going to evolve really quickly. Because after the dinosaurs, everything was, got really different.
Darren is talking
So
about Mark Twain. He was born under a comet. It was Halley's comet, and he predicted he would go out with a comet, and he died when Halley's comet returned. And I, I don't know. Uh,
oh,
no, Mark Twain died well before the 60s. And it could be that Halley's comet
really?
came back again in the
Yeah,
60s. I
yeah.
don't remember it. I don't remember what its cycle is.
So anyway, so we're not going to talk about comets. Much to my dismay, I'm trying to unravel that mystery of the green comet.
I can't do that one
Um,
for you. I'm sorry.
all right, but it doesn't hurt to ask. So while we're here, please hit the thumbs up. We're going to go over some political astrology. I have a few cast of characters in my head. Where do you want to start? Because I did throw out a couple of
Well,
requests.
let's start with the jury award last Friday, and then
Okay,
how that affects E. Jean Carroll, and how she interacts with Trump, and how all three go, because it's delicious. The
I love it.
time the time of the award had the North Node, which is what I call the sign with this way to the future, at the very top of the chart. The North Node in Aries, about the individual taking action. And this is where, and there's going to be an eclipse in April that will really, really activate this. But the North Node is traveling with Chiron in Aries. Now, Chiron is the abiding wound. Chiron
Yeah,
in Aries has a lot to do with the wound of testosterone poisoning. I call it toxic masculinity, of being
really?
overly aggressive. And so there's something here that brought this to like the pinnacle the pinnacle. It's just beautiful. And Pluto, the other thing that's worth noting about just the award chart, we'll talk about how it fits the actual humans. But the other thing that's beautiful is that Pluto at the beginning of Aquarius is right at the doorway of the relationship house. So this does mark a massive evolutionary stage in how we deal with each other. This
So
is
you're referring to the America's chart or Aging
no,
Carroll?
I'm referring to the chart of the moment that the award
That's
was
right.
announced.
I literally have this. This is where I was sitting there with my Post-it notes, listening to the news, waiting for the verdict, right? And I'm scribbling it down. And I was like, 83 million. Yeah, I remember the moment. It was around 5 o'clock on Friday.
Is around, yeah. So here's what's beautiful about it. Now, we don't have a birth time for E. Jean Carroll, but I can tell you she's a Sagittarius, and
Oh,
so
cool.
is another woman that you asked me about.
Oh,
And
yeah.
So her son, her Sagittarius son, is in the first house of the US chart, meaning that she does embody something that speaks to
Wow.
the
Yeah.
individual of what our country is about. Um, the only thing I want to say about her, because I mostly want to talk about how she and Trump interact and how the award interacts. The main thing I want to say about her is that something really big in August is going to grow out of this for her. And I don't know what that is going to be. Okay.
I'll have to look at that. Yeah, I'll have to do a reading on that. So just for the first house, for people that might not know, is that the way that you appear to the world?
Yep. It's your identity. So it's like the US identity. And then we've got this woman in the courts, Sagittarius involves that,
Yeah.
who did something that has a bit of a political undertone to it, but not in a Democrat versus Republican political form, but the bigger point of this is to change. Well,
The collective.
politics
Yeah.
can be how we interact with each other. So,
Right. But this is how this affects, like I was talking about the evolution, the dinosaurs, right? It's like this affects the whole collective, right? That's what it feels like to me.
oh, no, it absolutely does. And something really big comes actually as early as March. As early as March, there is some closure that she gets about the defamation, quite honestly, with what's showing in her chart. Now, just a tiny bit of the legal bit of this. Trump just can't automatically appeal. It's his desire to appeal. But if he wants to appeal and put the pause button on collection efforts, he has to post an appeal bond. And
Yeah.
it is huge. And so and I don't know what the time period for appeal is, but maybe there will be something by the end of March. There's another award coming out this week, tomorrow, coming out of with the Trump organization. And the end
Oh,
of
is that
March
tomorrow?
that's tomorrow. And then the end of March has the Manhattan DA's criminal prosecution of paying off a porn star of election fraud or campaign fraud, finance violations. So who knows what is going to blow end of March that will play a role. Interestingly, this also hits Alina Habba's chart. But let's go back. Let's just look at Carroll and Trump. Now, this is
Gonna blow off in March. His head's gonna blow off. I saw it in the cards last night.
well,
He's just gonna lose it.
this award. Hold on.
And last
So
night, she on Rachel Maddow, she said that she would go.
Oh, maybe she files another lawsuit. I don't know. But when I put all these charts together, so his chart in the middle, her at the center, her chart and the ring around that, and then the award chart. So I have three. First off, there are multiple indicators of if you believe in karma and soul contract, there is one here. There is one here. Her Saturn is directly on his sun. She has the ability to bring the courts down on him. Saturn in Gemini. She was a great communicator. She was known as a master of language
I was
before.
amazed. Yeah, did you hear the prelude to before she came on? Rachel Maddow did like 20 minutes of. I was like, wow, this woman is.
But she has the ultimate, excuse my pun, trump card with her Saturn
Yeah,
being on his sun. And that's glue, okay? That is,
right.
he can't get away from her. And how many
Yeah, she's
decades did this
strong.
go on? He can't get away from her. And she brought the courts down on him. That's thing one.
Yeah,
Thing two, her North Node, which is her path of destiny, is
yeah.
on his Pluto. That is, so he has Pluto in the 12th house, which is an indicator of backroom stuff, of nefarious things. I'm not saying everybody with Pluto in the 12th house is a criminal, but it is one of the indicators that could, if there's other stuff, that could support criminality. So her North Node is connected with that. Her path, like she came in, part of what she was supposed to do was to show him as a sexual predator, as a
It's
rapist.
amazing. That's amazing.
But there's more. All right. Her Jupiter, which expands, ultimately, I mean, it could be beneficent, but it could also just really, really expand things, is smack on top of his Mars, which is the bluster and the and so she when if the two of them interact, he just goes overboard in everything associated with Mars, which is I am man, I am angry, I'm going to take
Oh
you,
yeah,
woman. Um,
volatile.
I'm going to take you in a dressing room. So important things from this. Um, Also, her sun is on his south node, which is an indicator of a past life connection or something from the past coming back to bite you, which she kind of has been
Yeah,
doing. But times I want everyone to keep in mind, all right, there's something big happening
I'm
in
gonna write
this.
it down.
There's something big happening in this in March. The lunar eclipse in March is going to be on both of their Neptunes.
When is
Um,
it?
at the end of
Did
the
we say the
month. But
25th?
you
Okay.
know, they're not exact. I mean, yeah, they can tell what the date was, but it could build before then. It could play out
Right.
afterwards. Just note, end of March brings this, and then early April when there's that huge total eclipse that goes from the southwest up into New England. That one is going to ignite in Trump's house of debts and other people's money. So I'll just point out, I'm not saying he's going to do this. I'll just point out that Saturn in the sky right now is traveling through territory that it last did in the mid 1990s when he put four, I believe, casinos into bankruptcy. Now, if he
Yeah.
were to file personal bankruptcy, this kind of claim could be thrown, would be out the window. But to do that, he has to reveal his finances. It is so I think it's unlikely that that's the approach he's going to take. I think, as a practical matter, I don't see how she's going to actually get any money out of him. But I will say this isn't going away. These aspects, and just watch. And what's fascinating is this stuff also blows up Alina Habba's chart the
Oh wow!
very
I have a question. So
yeah.
So did I hear that he can't it can't be property because you're saying I don't think he has money. Okay, he's just blowing smoke that he's got all this billions and billions. So is it true that he can't use property, but he has to use actual money? He has to actually pay her. He can't just give her property. You know what I mean? Like how are they going to settle that if he
Well,
doesn't have?
you can do anything in a settlement. She could accept real estate from him.
Oh,
However,
she could. Okay.
does he own anything outright? Is it all mortgaged? Aren't there other lenders that have a
Oh,
say in
so
this?
that's going to be up for. Is that what you mean? That's going to
Yeah,
be up
I
for
don't
like
I mean
scrutiny.
I don't see him entering into any kind of discussion with her. I see this getting into a point where somebody from the sheriff's office is going to go out with a notice of levy and just start taking stuff.
Oh my! Can you imagine? What do you think is going to happen when that happens?
I honestly, I think I've been saying he is an illegal Iron Maiden when people have been
Yeah.
freaking out. I don't see how he gets out of this. Now he can just
No,
continue
he's cornered.
screaming. He can continue being, what does she call him? A tired walrus? There was some adjective in front of a walrus
Yeah,
last night.
you just reminded me of that. It was something like a big empty fat walrus. Like I just love it when she's like, he's just nothing. He's a zero. He's nothing.
The
And she
worst
went
thing
in and
she
she was all like shaken and intimidated, and then she sat down and she looked at him and she was like, he's nothing.
snorting walrus. Thank you, Jackie.
A snort. Yeah, and then they found all the drugs. I didn't read on that last night, and I am going to read on because I do see past lives. I am going to read on. Stay tuned tomorrow night. Somebody has to remind me. I'll write it down.
Wait. Someone
Their
has
past
said
life.
he will take it to the Supreme Court. This case can't go to the Supreme Court. The
No,
Supreme Court, there's
it's a
because you
civil
either
case.
there are only two grounds for getting it up there, and I guarantee you this is not a major federal issue, a
Yeah,
personal defamation thing. No, it's not
it's
going to the Supreme Court.
civil suits don't usually go to the Supreme Court.
No,
That
they
would be
do,
yeah, but
but
this can't.
but not a damage award. No, that's what
Okay,
this is. This is a
okay,
damage
so
award.
all right.
No,
So it's
no.
not that it's a civil case; it's that it's a damage
It's that
case,
it's not a major federal case,
right?
not a major
Well, he makes
federal
a major
issue.
federal case out of everything. He literally makes a federal case out of everything. Can somebody? Is there a wrench in the chat? Because I am seeing the chat,
Oh
and
yeah,
if there,
we do need something getting
we
out.
need wrenches. I'll get
Okay,
rid of it.
thank you. So, how Alina Habba fits into this is fascinating. I have already mentioned there are multiple moments of difficulty for her this year. And I personally, I mean, I think there's already one um, uh, ethics complaint brewing with her
One,
for telling, well, for what she did with an employee of Mar-a-Lago and like cozying
right?
up to
That
the person.
definitely.
At any rate, so this lunar eclipse in March directly hits her sun. It's at the same degree as her sun. And that, so Trump may fire her by then. I'm assuming she's still, something's going to blow up for her.
You know, I don't know if you see what she has. She has a hold on him. I don't know if you see that, but let's just first. You said she's a Sagittarius.
No, Alina Habba, she's an Aries.
She's an Aries. Okay.
No, it's E. Jean Carroll who's a Sagittarius. And somebody else that we're going to talk about is a Sagittarius, but not Alina Habba.
Okay. Cool.
She's an Aries, and the lunar eclipse is going to be exactly
That's
on it.
cool.
Now, lunar eclipses do several things. They bring massive revelations. They escalate dramas into something really, really huge. There are departures. People leave. Jobs blow up. People blow up. People blow up. Here we go.
When's her birthday? Because it's right around the lunar eclipse.
It's
And
March
she's an
25th.
Aries.
It's March
Her
25th.
her birthday is on the lunar eclipse
this year.
She's done. She's finished.
And then lunar eclipses also end chapters. Now, the
Right.
chapter could be her relationship with Trump. The chapter could be her marriage blows up. But then the big eclipse a few weeks later happens on her Mercury, happens on her planet of communication. Whatever this, so solar eclipses
Wow.
also jettison something from your life. The word eclipse, something is eclipsed out. The sky is dark, and when it comes back, something is different. So this is a new phase of how she runs her mouth, which is a phrase I will use for somebody who has Mercury in Aries. This
I
is
was wondering what that was because it's
yeah.
pretty brazen.
Yeah, it's like fighting words. She's
Does
just nonstop fighting words.
well fighting stupid words too. What's similar between her and the loser and their charts? Because they definitely seem like they're made of the same cloth.
Well, hang on.
Or she's just watched him and seen what he does, and she's just copycatting. But that that there's no
Well,
rules
now,
for
now
us.
she also has uh, a real disruptive quality in the legal system. So that appeals to him, but she goes about it in a different way. So for her, I think it's more, I'll just blow it up from the inside. I'll be
Yeah.
in it. And then, whereas he's from the litigant perspective. So they're on the same spectrum in that regard.
And she has no conscience.
Possibly. She is very much in it for the money.
Okay, that's the no conscience part. Where do you see that in your chart?
Well, she has Neptune and Jupiter and the moon in Capricorn. I will say with this, she probably did not experience soft, yummy, huggy stuff when she was a kid. This is not coming home and mommy has made you treats kind of stuff.
Latchkey kid,
People
probably.
with moon in Capricorn, in my observation, have actually had cold and distant relationships growing up, and they're kind of have an undercurrent of sadness in them.
She has no warmth at all.
No.
There's
Well,
nothing
except when she's
likable.
angry. The only warmth comes, being a firebrand.
Well, that's not like warm fuzzies. That's
Oh no, no, no.
but she doesn't have any sense of concern for how she's impacting people around her unless she's like wanting to have a negative impact. She
Well,
doesn't have any concern. It's like she thinks that she can did you see the little clip of her? She thinks she can just get away with being pretty. Like she doesn't have to be smart. As long as she's pretty, she's gonna do well. That sense of entitlement, and I don't know if that's part of her astrology.
this
Aries.
pushes all kinds of buttons for me. When I went to law school, only 1/3 of the people in my class were female, and people kept telling me what a great little legal secretary I would make, and guys would ask me to
Yeah.
sharpen their pencils, and to see somebody who walked in at a point when a lot of people had, paved the way for her, and to have that kind of attitude,
Yeah. Yeah.
it just pushes my buttons.
I know,
I
and
will
you're
tell
not the
you,
only lawyer whose buttons get pushed because I've seen like even the guys on Midas Touch, they're just like floored. And Karen, what's her name? Karen Agnifilo. Yeah, they're just like they're freaking out over her, understandably. She
now she
cheated.
does have almost like she does have an Ivanka-like vibe
Yeah,
with Trump, because she has Mars in Scorpio and Ivanka has, like, almost everything possible in Scorpio. Um, and it's in a direct current with his Venus and Saturn. So there's like, I'm daddy, and this
yeah,
weird little sexual undercurrent going on with
yeah.
it.
I was gonna mention that. I'm trying to figure out how to say it right.
Well, I just said it.
Okay,
So
thank you.
anyway, so stuff's going to blow up, move her into a different arena, into a different way of doing things in March and April. And I'll just toss out there for those of you who are only now running into her name, she's already in previous years been sanctioned as an attorney for like a huge amount of money for filing
Yeah.
a frivolous lawsuit on Trump's behalf against
Yeah,
Hillary
like a
Clinton.
million. It was like a million.
Yes, huge, like 900 something thousand dollars, and it hasn't stopped. So,
And then she bragged about it. That's the part that's like so crazy. She bragged about it.
so okay, so watch, just wear a flak jacket if you go anywhere near her in March and April because things are going to be blowing. Around the same time, Saturn is going to cross Venus in her chart. Now,
That seems bad.
well, it's going to cross mine. Her Venus is really close to mine. It doesn't have to be bad. Saturn always tests how you've handled things. This could be a, given the other things that are going on, this could be a personally sad and depressing time. There could be distance between her and something that she values. She could be a sacrificial lamb. I know we're saying it's unlikely that Trump's going to ditch her, but I'm saying she might end up taking a fall for him and his thinking. Like she lost the case for him. When it gets to the point where he can't get out of the machinery for money
Oh
coming
yeah,
after
I see
him.
what you're saying. I see the cosmic order there. That makes sense.
Okay. So
Yeah.
it would fit completely. And then, okay, two other things. At this moment, I mentioned Pluto in Aquarius. Pluto is in her house of career and public reputation, has been for a
Wow.
while. And that's been making her more and more prominent and in the news. But this year, Pluto in her public reputation house is just kind of like parked in a square, which is a demand for action with her natal Pluto in her house of one-on-one relationships. I would say again, I don't think her marriage is in a good place, but this is
Yeah.
also her public life taking a massive hit because of being connected to a
The loser.
powerful man.
I love calling him that.
Well, you can call him whatever you want. Oh,
That's
a
what I want
friend
to
of
call
mine has come up with a great name, but I'm not going to say it on YouTube because it involves an obscenity. It's
him.
a
You can
play
just
on
put, fill in the blank.
starts with an F, ends with a K,
Okay.
and then it starts with an F.
Okay,
Stone.
got it. I think I got it.
Stone instead of Fred
I
Flintstone.
must be that I'm psychic.
Oh yeah,
I
must be. Anyway,
figured it out. Wait, I
anyway,
was gonna ask. I was gonna ask you something about her. She almost Judge Kaplan threatened to throw her in jail. And I actually have done readings, and it seems very likely that she would spend a day in jail or something. I don't know if you see that.
and that could be when Saturn goes across her Venus. Um, Honestly, what I kept thinking of is memories of the distant past when I did trial work, and we would make jokes about better bring your toothbrush to the courthouse
Yeah,
today
right.
because you knew you're gonna get there's
Bring your
someone was gonna get
toiletries.
cooling their heels in a cell, and anybody else would have been found in contempt for a bunch of the stuff that
Yeah,
she did.
yeah. She's just like the loser in that way. Anybody else would have been in jail by now, by months and months and months ago. Because and then she wrote something awful to Judge Kaplan today or yesterday. I don't know.
Yeah, she's but then Carol's attorney went after her, and now she's oh no, no, she's
Did she take
backtracking.
it? She took it back.
She took it back.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway, the other thing I want to point out about her, because there is somebody else I think it'd be much more interesting for us to talk about
We
in
just
a
want to know
second.
that she's not going to get any further with this ridiculousness.
Well, okay, so we have the spring, massive, massive change, something clamping down on her, possibly, getting to spend some time by herself in isolation, thinking about a thing or three.
Hmm.
And then the other, and her career taking a huge hit because of her connection to a very powerful man who did something that was a sex crime. And that's in the astrology. But the thing that's most important out of all this, I have mentioned this before. Saturn, which is accountability and it's the court system and it's containment, is going to be in a really harsh relationship at the end of August and again Christmas Eve, I think.
Yeah.
That is going to require clamping down on a bunch of stuff that's flying out of people's mouths. Well, this locks into her chart exactly on Christmas Eve, and it's a formula for, hang on a second, it locks into her Uranus disruptor. Could be innovative, could be brilliant, could just be a troublemaker and rogue. What have we seen? It's going to be locked into this, and the whole push in her ninth house of the legal profession.
Yeah.
And the upshot of all this is, I think she could be disbarred.
I hope so.
End of the year, I think she could be disbarred.
Terry Hall is saying, does she have her eye on a Colorado House seat? We're talking about Alina Habba.
Alina Habba has her law office in New Jersey.
She's probably talking about Bobert. Sorry, that's what
yeah.
read the chat.
Now, I mean, maybe she suddenly, like one friend of mine feels like she's going to turn into the next Janine Pirro and end up on Fox News as a commentator, and that might be, but good. I hope not, because I think I think this is rife with many important relationships in her life blowing up this year and losing her law license.
I think she's ruined. I think she will have ruined her reputation and her, like any sense of taking her seriously. And it's interesting that Terry was just, I think they were having a discussion. Oh, Terry mentioned she was talking about Lauren Boebert, and that was good timing because it feels similar to what's going to happen to Lauren Boebert. We weren't talking about Lauren today, Boebert, but I feel similar, like the same thing. I'm starting to pick this up too in the PNN, the Psychic News Network, when I'm doing readings on these people. I'm starting to see a commonality. It's almost like they're a certain breed, and Boebert has it, and Alina Habba has it, and Elise Stefanik has it, and Ronna McDaniel have it. They're just, you know what I mean? It's almost like if you looked at their charts, sometimes I'm curious, is there a thing that's the same in their chart?
Well,
not to do it now, but
no. Well, what's the thing that's the same with Boebert and Marjorie Taylor Greene and Habba, and I don't remember Stefanik off the top of my head or Ronna McDaniel, but they've all got something in the mid degrees of mutable. They've all got something on the Gemini Sagittarius polarity, and that goes right across Trump because he's a Gemini sun and a Sagittarius moon, and his nodes go that way too. So they've all got something that falls in with that, and that's I'm just gonna blurt stuff out of my mouth and say whatever I want, and
without any thought of repercussions, without any gee, I want that's what always fascinates me. It's like there's no regard for how is this going to work out. If I do this, how is that going to, unfold? What's going to come back? I don't know what you call that.
Well, there's a real when you're on this mutable axis, you can say stuff, and then 15 minutes later, you can say something completely different.
With the Gemini, right? The Gemini.
Well, Gemini and Sag, it's like, now I'm here, now I'm there, So there can be a lot of flexibility. It can be like a reed blowing with the wind, or it can be,
yeah, right.
But I don't know. Some traditions they call it two-faced. I don't know.
Yeah, slightly. But I always see the bad side. They don't show any good sides. Really, when you think about
well, they amplify each other. I mean, they're all doing the same kind of thing.
Yeah. Boomerang, the boomerang. Well, what I'm talking about more is like Darren up here is saying the boomerang effect. What I'm talking about more is more like the psychology of I think normally we all think, oh, if I do, I might not want to do that because then this will happen, and I don't. That would not come. That wouldn't be a good boomerang, right? That wouldn't like. And Trump doesn't do that either. He doesn't like. He went out there and he's like, the same day that he got hit with that $5 million settlement, that lawsuit, like back in May, wasn't it the same night he had that town hall? And he just defamed the hell out of her. Like it just the consequences don't occur to them, or they just don't.
or they just don't even think that the consequences could happen to them
Yeah, that's it. They don't think it's real that could happen.
because they're
So
special.
yeah, or I guess it's called narcissism,
That could be.
something like that. So who are we going to look at next?
Taylor Swift. We're going to look at Taylor Swift.
We're going to be
Taylor
Swifties.
Swift.
We're going to be Swifties. I asked Kathy to compare Taylor Swift's chart to, what do you call it when you look at the chart side by side?
Oh no, I put her chart over the U.S. chart. It's synastry.
Isn't there a word? Synastry is the word. Like if you do a couples chart to see if they're compatible, is that what you call it?
Well, that's part of what I do. I'll do a composite chart and I'll see how each of them activates the other.
Yeah.
So Taylor Swift is a Sagittarius.
Well, let me just first say what the. Oh, that's cool. Let me just first say what the question is. The question that I had for Kathy that I sent to her earlier is like, how is Taylor Swift's what she's doing with getting out the vote and everything? How is that going to affect the United States? So that's why she's looking at both charts.
Yeah. So I have like two things I want to say about her, and then mostly her and the U.S.
And somebody loves your jacket. I just have to tell you, love.
Thank you. Isn't it great?
It's awesome.
It's my treat for myself. All right.
I love it.
I shall wear it at my reading Thursday night. If you're in New Jersey, white rabbit, black heart, Montclair, New Jersey, reading from my book, Confessions of a Third-Rate Goddess. All right.
Oh, good. We'll say that more at the end.
Cool. Anyway, so she is Sagittarius sun with a whole bunch in Cancer and Capricorn.
And when's her birthday?
Her birthday is December 13th. I don't have a birth time. There are several floating around, but none of them are accurate. I mean, no one knows. So I am going to, I just set the chart with her sun on the ascendant. It's called a solar chart. So the thing about her is she can be very adventuresome, but she also has an eye for money.
Oh, yeah.
And for people and for making stuff that has lasting value. This is someone who puts her money behind what her mouth is. Okay.
So let me just point out that that's two very powerful women right now, E. Jean Carroll and Taylor Swift, who to me are going to change the trajectory for women.
So here's the other thing about her chart, and then I want to talk about what she's doing in the U.S. chart. I have now, with pretty much everyone, mentioned Pluto at the very beginning of the sign of Aquarius. This is change. This is an influence that's going to be changing how we interact with each other through 2044, and it is redistributing power from big corporations, big institutions, 4 or 5 oligarchs, and making it more across the board.
So the 4 or 5 oligarchs are the one that's going to kind of fall apart, we hope.
Well, it's going to take a while, but that's an issue in this. And I will just remind people the last time Pluto was in Aquarius at the end of the 1700s, the middle class was created. It was either really, really rich and really poor. Middle class came, and how? Well, first off, women started marching. Women started marching in France because of the price of bread.
Bread.
And that led to that grew into the French Revolution, and then a bunch of other stuff happened. So why am I going on about this? Well, Pluto has just in the last couple of years moved into Taylor's house of her values and her money making. So this would explain a lot of the like astronomical success that she's
It's
had.
amazing. It is amazing what she's achieved. I remember when she was just starting out, I went to Nashville and I was pitching a couple songs unsuccessfully, and they were all going like, this is back in 2008. They're all like, oh, well, you gotta be more like Taylor Swift. And I was like, who is this Swift character that
Yeah,
they keep
well,
talking about?
she has 1, 2, 3, 4 placements in Capricorn that Pluto moved through from 2008 on and
Yeah,
just, really, really fine tune her story.
it's
This
amazing.
year, this year, Pluto is on her Venus. She has Venus in Aquarius, which is community oriented,
Yeah.
collective oriented. I want friends. Venus in Aquarius needs a lot of breathing room. It's kind of unusual. It might do things for altruistic reasons. I saw something on, I think, Instagram in the last couple of weeks of a designer being gobsmacked by a photo of Taylor Swift wearing a dress this designer had created, and Taylor had bought it. It wasn't one of those, like, we'll give it to you and you'll go around and give us
Oh,
publicity.
wow.
Taylor had bought the dress. And so this designer
Wow.
just sees that
That's
body walking around in her
great.
dress. Looked pretty good.
That's great.
So this is this year and the beginning of next year, she's like moving into maximum power and
Whoa.
helping redefine what women are and what they're supposed to do. Yes, go
Deserves
on.
a bell. It deserves a bell.
Ye-
Yeah. Yeah, that really did a lot for her. A lot. She has like I remember reading this exorbitant. I forget what the figure was, but how many Instagram followers she had. Like a year ago, I heard how many. It was like I think it was like a couple billion. It was crazy.
Empowerment Unlimited.net. Read my February forecast. You'll find out what I'm talking about. And then in June, I mean, she might get a proposal. It is
I know.
possible. I
Of
don't know.
course, we all want to know that, right? It seems like she's met her match when it comes to romance.
Yeah. So that's good for her. But more importantly, let's look at her and the US because this is incredible. So all of her sun and all of her Capricorn planets are in the US, the first house of its identity and how we
Really?
appear in the world. So she's kind of like the prototypical woman. And her or like she's this model. She's like the public ambassador for the US all over the
I mean,
world.
she's got more impact than the president when you think about it in terms
Her
of outreach, right?
her son is in an opportunity aspect to the United States moon, which represents the people. So that's one of the explanations for her. She speaks to people in this country, just her way of being.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
she
definitely.
she is modeling a different form of personal authority. Her Saturn, there's stuff in here saying this was meant to be. This is really,
Yeah,
really important. Her moon, we don't have a time of birth, but her moon is in the very beginning of Cancer, which is the moon's home base. So she's underneath there. She's a very emotional, very caring person. Um, and
yeah, very
Jupiter
much.
is,
Very much
so I
more.
imagine she channels because
Yeah,
remember Robin Williams just kind of,
yeah,
she's got that.
yeah. It
And,
just comes in.
and this sandwiches the US Jupiter, which means There's a huge emotional connection with her that has no logic behind it. All right. She's
Yeah.
going to just be huge. People feel seen. This is the tribe. This is the tribal
Yeah.
stuff. And there is stuff in her chart interacting with the US chart that is healing feminine issues.
Wow. So there it is. That's two huge women influences, all in the same kind of concentrated span of time, that are going to have a huge impact on the consciousness of this country. Like, it's so big. And it just reminds me of how many times over the past few years I've been seeing in the cards the women are going to rise up and they're going to take control. And I don't know if you see that in the United States chart, but definitely those two women have come up as the instigators of this, right?
And they're coming at it from different ways. E.
Yeah,
Jean Carroll is coming at it from the going to battle against
right.
the out of control masculine, the I can just grab and take what I want. And Taylor Swift is connecting in a positive way and creating community. Very different approach. She's not battling anybody.
Well, they're trying to. Fox is attempting to go after her, but she's like a slippery. She's like, there's nothing for them to grab onto. They're trying to say. I really, you may have heard this too. They're trying to say on Fox, oh, we need you all to not listen to Taylor Swift for the next 2 weeks and to root for the 49ers. I'm like, what? That did you hear that? Don't don't cheer for the Chiefs. They definitely don't want the Chiefs to win, but I think they're going to. But anyway, I digress. It's she can't really. They can't come up with anything.
Look, she has connected with the masses, huge masses, and that's not breaking.
No, that's great.
So
Oh wait,
again, E. Jean Carroll was the fighter, and she did it.
yeah.
She fought a monster, and she fought like a symbol of out of control testosterone poisoning. I mean, that's really what it is. She fought that. Taylor Swift is connecting emotionally with people. Very different vibe. She's
It's a
creating
perfect.
community.
It's a
Very
perfect.
different vibe.
It's a perfect combination. It's a perfect complement. It covers all the bases that need to be covered by
Mhm.
the feminine. Warren saying a psychic I know fairly well said that a woman would take 45 down. It's E. Jean Carroll. Just I mean, because I was reflecting on that last night and I just got okay. The women that I see, we were thinking, was it Ivanka? Was it Melania? Was it this one? Was it that one? It's E. Jean Carroll. It's not
And
Taylor Swift.
and with the cleanup of that, it's going to be the female monitor of the Trump organization that found
Right.
50 million that appears to be a completely undocumented and probably non-existent
He's so
loan.
mad. He's so mad. He's so
So
angry.
there's that, and there's also the female AG of New York State. Uh, so there's just a line of women, but I mean,
Oh.
Carol's the important one because she got what tenacity, what absolute tenacity.
So somebody's asking, don't forget the women. Oh, saying don't forget the women prosecutors. What I'm referring to is that there was one woman who was going to play the role of taking down Trump. It's the year of the women. It's definitely the year of the woman. Who else do you have there? I know there was one more.
The other one I have is Greg Abbott.
Do we have time for that?
I'll make it real quick.
It's like we're all in this riding the powerful women
Yeah,
vibe, and then
well,
you go,
okay.
oh,
So
it's Greg
here's
Abbott.
the time to keep in mind for him. I have mentioned that Saturn and Jupiter and Saturn are going to have this clashing, got to clamp down, take control, straighten some things out. vibe around the end of the year. This is going to pull in, for those of you who follow the technicalities of this, Saturn in his house of open enemies will be opposite. I'm sorry, Jupiter in his house of open enemies will be opposite Saturn in his house of personal values and money. And they will both be in a tense, action demanding relationship with Saturn in the sky in his house of home and security. What I think this means is a lot of his power will be voted out in November. And when this it's a T square is what it is for those of you who are out there, that will put containment, some limitations on him and what he's actually able to do will be in place by the end of the year.
It's called prison.
Abbott, we'll see.
Oh yeah. Oh, I'll continue to read on him, even though it's horrible energy to go into. I don't think. Well, you said the house of open enemies is which house?
7th.
The seventh house.
Okay, let me hold on. Let me just look real quick.
Because I'm definitely picking up that he's going to be
Well, you know what? Yeah, it's possible.
prison. Yeah, prison. Yeah, he's murdering people.
Well, and declaring for open secession, blah blah blah. And
Yeah,
and
all
and
of it.
those of you watching out there, I spent half of my life in Texas. I still am very much a Texan, and people will say, "Why don't you move back?" And I'll just point.
I couldn't, and I feel for people that live there. So what I don't mean that he's directly murdering people, but he's calling for murder. He's calling for these poor people. It's so. Does he call himself a Christian?
Oh, I'm sure. So, just the takeaway from this is reckoning is coming by the end of the year, and his ability to do a whole lot of things will be greatly limited by the end of the year. That's that's all I want to say about Abbott today.
And was there one other woman?
Not that I got in a text from you, but I can look someone up. What do you want?
Well, if you have anybody there who's like Elise and Rana, they're really driving me up the wall.
Okay, let me find. Okay,
They make me
Stefanik.
so
Let me
angry.
just look. Hold on. Hold on.
Well, we're still in this discussion about women taking Trump down. I don't think anybody's like really understand what I'm saying. The one person that's going to destroy Trump's power, the one woman. I know it's a collective women energy. I just want to like say, but there's one in particular that's going to do the job that needs to be done, which is really make him impotent, render him impotent. And when I say that, I mean if he has money, if he doesn't have money, he has nothing.
Wait, I just thought of something else that I didn't mention about the award chart and what it does to him. Hang on, hang on, hang on.
Like that, yeah, the 83.3 million is that specific thing. That's like the arrow that gets
Okay.
him right where.
The other thing that's really important is there was an exact square, which is a challenging aspect, demanding action between the moon in the hidden place. So that's the jury deliberating, and Uranus in his 9th house of legal proceedings. So that's the shocking award coming out from.
Yeah, that's his Achilles heel. That's what I mean. The one person who's gonna shoot, was it the arrow in the mythology story of Achilles?
He was shot in the heel. Yeah, because his mother dunked him to protect him, but she held him by the foot, and so where she was holding him didn't get
right. So
get
Jan Carroll is the one that hit him. I think it's an arrow in the story.
Yeah.
Hit him in the Achilles heel. She's the one that drew the bow and shot the arrow. That's what I was talking about. And the other woman will take him down too, but she's the one that shot the arrow.
So the main thing about her is with all of the stuff that's going on, I mean, you might not see anything. Yeah, I know she's under investigation because
Wait, who are we talking about?
Elise Stefanik. I am sorry,
Thank you.
Elise Stefanik. You know, she's who isn't under investigation at this point. Unfortunately, it may not be till next year that we see stuff really coming home to roost for her. Now that she's got an election cycle to get through, maybe doesn't make it through the. Oh no, she doesn't make it through the cycle. She doesn't make she will live someplace else. She's having a career and location change this fall. So that sounds like her not getting
Advancing. Not advancing.
not advancing. And in the meantime, it's going to be even more pronounced in 2025. Massive obfuscation, gaslighting,
Yeah.
involved in stuff that she's not being clear about, could involve entertainment purposes only, people in other countries.
Yeah.
And that might not really that bubble, those clouds may not part until 2025.
And I saw when I did a reading last night, I saw her and Ronna McDaniel, and I remember I was using my new really weird dark cards, and they had the same. Speaking of spears and arrows, there's a snake, and there were 3 spears in the snake, and I attributed that to foreign enemies for entertainment purposes only. But it had this air of they both were in the same, baked into the same pie of corruption and using funds that were illicit, that they shouldn't have been using, they shouldn't have had, and it felt like it had to do with money. But I just see them under investigation, the two of
And
them.
that would fit, and we may not see what's really going on with that
Right.
till next year. Although I mean, some information could start coming to light in June. The most important thing to keep in mind is there's a solar eclipse in October on the on her home and career axis. She's not going to be living in the same place that she's living now.
Yeah, so at
Change
least
of residence, change of job.
yeah. Yeah, I think last time we said that she'd probably be she's wanting to be the loser's VP pick, but we know he's not going to go even that far anyway.
No, I don't think so.
So, yeah, crazy times, huh? I mean, it's just like the information just keeps barreling in all day, every day. You got to keep your energy up, everybody. Please hit the thumbs up on the way out, and please subscribe to this channel. And you want to give your little spiel about what you're up to?
Yes, my name is Kathy Beal. For the 4 of you out here who have not run into me before, my site is empowermentunlimited.net. I have free forecasts for every week, every month, every new moon, every full moon. I also have a Patreon where I give a lot more information. Patreon/Kathy Beal. I'm giving a talk Friday night via Zoom on Pluto in Aquarius throughout history and what it means for the signs. There is a link at the top of my site. And assuming that I actually do hit the record button, it'll be available for people who can't do it live.
You will. You will. Mercury's not retrograde. Right?
Yeah,
Mercury's
well, there was an issue with a class I did for the first time ever on Sunday night. So I took care of myself. I went to an acupuncturist. I got a brain tune-up. Really, really great thing to do. There's one other thing. Hold on. If you are in New Jersey, Thursday night, I'm talking at White Rabbit, Black Heart, a place I would love to actually live. It's my entire aesthetic in a shop. I'm going to be reading from my first book, Eat, Drink, and Be Wary, Cautionary Tales, and mostly from Confessions of a Third-Rate Goddess, traipsing through a world gone weird.
That sounds so fun. If New Jersey was a little closer, I'd drive down and see you, but it's a little too many hours.
It's a little far. Yeah. Well, I've been in a lot of contact lately with my pals in Portsmouth, so who knows? Perhaps I will come up that
And
way.
New Hampshire, yeah, we'll you'll have to come up. We'll go to that'd be fun to meet in person. We can go to the Green Elephant and go to Deadwick's.
I love
whiskey
Deadwick's.
store.
I have things from Deadwick's all over my house.
From in Portsmouth?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. See, it's a small world.
Yeah, no, I've gone there a whole lot. One of my best friends from forever, I had a cabaret act with him for 10 years, is a former poet laureate of Portsmouth. Yes, Portsmouth actually has a poet laureate program.
We're gonna put that on the calendar. We're gonna meet up in Portsmouth, New Hampshire. That would be really, really fun. As far as what I'm doing, I have Jonathan Glass, Catherine Glass, the psychic that I did a show with. Jonathan Glass has this book, Total Life Cleanse. I feel very compelled to get people to get their health on. I don't know why. I just do what the guides tell me. This coming Saturday, that's the 3rd, the day after Groundhog Day, and the day after Kathy's talk, right? And at 12 noon Eastern time. So don't miss that one. He's also going to tell us about this group thing that they're doing with the Total Life Cleanse starting on February 19th. So check that out this Saturday. To book a reading, psychic.AnnetteDion.com. I'm offering a special winter doldrums energy reading. If you're having the winter doldrums, I mean, it happens here a lot. It's so overcast. We barely see the sun. If you're feeling low energy, I tune into your energy and I give you kind of like a protocol to do that will help you to get more energized and optimistic. And PNN every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern, and Grassroots Democracy. We meet tonight. Are you coming tonight? So we do a guided meditation for Healed America every single Tuesday, and it's working. So join us for that. And there's lots more, but I always leave something out. So thank you. And we're going to do this again in 2 weeks. Just a little heads up. Is that going to be February? Sheesh. February the 6th? No, the 13th.
13th.
We can do the 6th if you want, because that is the week of the new moon. We're a little far off. We didn't even talk about the moon. Really. Well, we'll let you know.
Yeah, we'll let you know.
Yeah. All right. Thank you. Thank you. There's always more to talk about, but we got to shut up at some point. Get in touch. Namaste. Thank you. Thank you.
All is good, everyone.
Thumbs up. Bye.